Mic check. Mic check 1 2. Yo, what's up? What's up, guys? Wednesday, November the 18th. Hope you're all doing well. Happy hump day. Hope you're all having a fantastic day today. Got a lot to get into. So taking your questions, comments, calls. Questions, comments, and calls here on a Wednesday. SEC Football Tube, what's up, man? Appreciate it. Yeah, so we hit 1,000 subs on YouTube. I really do appreciate you guys. That's awesome. Awesome stuff, man. Great goal to hit. We set out the goal and end up hitting it. So going to open up some doors as far as some potential as far as content's concerned. So thank you for that. It's awesome. It's awesome. Really, really do appreciate it. Ethan, what's up? H-Man, what's going on? Phil Carter Harris is Caldwell in once again. Jamie Caldwell from Coastal. Could he get the job? Jaden Harris, what's going on? Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Carson Medlin says apparently Napier and Freeze aren't getting traction, sounding like Beamer. I haven't necessarily heard that. I mean, to me, if I had to put money on it right now, I'd probably say Billy Napier is going to be the next head coach. I mean, if I just had to guess. Again, it's a pure guess from my end, but if you made me put money on it right now, I'd probably say Napier. But it's going to be a very interesting next couple of weeks, that's for sure. Also, quick reminder, if you haven't done so, check out the podcast. Episode 320 dropped this morning. Really a fun episode, to be honest with you, because we've all been talking about coaching searches and the potential names we want to see at South Carolina. I put a little bit of a different spin on it. Had some fun with the show, just talking about if you could see any Gamecock alum take over the job as head coach, who would you want to see? And I gave my top 5 and also gave like some honorable mentions, guys I like to see on staff and stuff like that. But so a fun show. Then of course best bet. We SEC gambling picks. We talked a lot of gambling. So, yeah, really fun show. So, again, episode 320 that dropped this morning. Check that out. But, yeah, again, guys, thank you so much. We did hit 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. I truly, truly do appreciate it. Really cool stuff. It was cool to set that goal and see us creep closer and closer and closer to it and then get there. So, again, thank you guys so much. Also going to be taking your calls. I'll put the number here, 843-790-3377. If you guys do want to call in, I'll be diving into Missouri very, very deep today. Obviously, the show dropping tomorrow. We'll break down that game, preview the Tigers, top storylines, keys to the game, key matchups, all that good stuff. So, really excited to dive into that. I am excited for game day, man. I first time been excited for the game day in a little bit, to be honest with you. So, let's see. James Bryson Parton, how many players have opted out? The new guys, I think it's just 4. You got JC, Izzy, RJ, and Makia Scott. So, are there more to come? I don't know. Who knows? You never know. But, yeah. So, the sign says Cola over Como. So, Columbia, South Carolina called Cola. Columbia, Missouri is Como. So, just a little jab at our friends over at Mizzou. Figured why not. Let's see. Cody Gaskins, what's up? Jackson, what's up, man? Hello, everyone. Again, happy Wednesday. Hope you're all doing well. Let's see. Chad Canfall, I just hope whoever comes in will retain Connor Shaw. Yeah, I think that's a given. That's a given with the next guy. You got to keep Connor Shaw on staff. That is a no-brainer. I wouldn't even consider hiring the next guy if he's not going to keep Connor on staff. So, Marion R26, what's going on, man? Steven says, who would be a good defensive coordinator? I'm not sure who the head coach would want to bring with him. There'll definitely be some good options out there. I'm sure he'll have that guy in mind. So Lee Elsey says Deuce. If not, I think their top target will be Napier. Felt Freeze would bring too much baggage. Yeah, it's so stupid because I see people saying, obviously, and I know the rule. They say you have to have a degree to get the head coaching job. I just don't understand why that's a thing. I think that's so stupid. But I guess it is what it is. And then, yeah, the Hugh Freeze thing, and I've heard Ray Tanner's not a huge fan of Hugh Freeze. That's just what I've heard. But I don't know. You never know. You never know. I mean, I would not be upset at all or anything like that with the Hugh Freeze hire. By all means, go right ahead. Let me open up the phone lines, by the way. I forgot to do that. I mean, I wouldn't be upset at it. The guy's won everywhere he's gone. I know he's got a checkered past, but you'd think, hey, if you can give Will Muschamp a second chance, I'm down to give Hugh Freeze a second chance. So, Let's see. And that would be the splash hire, man. I will tell you that. That would be the splash hire. That's the biggest thing about it, is that it would be the splash hire. So, okay. Phone lines are open up. So you guys do want to call in 843-790-3377. I'll take your questions, comments, everything else. Shane says, how do you feel about the last 3 games? Honestly, excited, nervous. I mean, I'm intrigued. I'm just relieved that we don't have to deal with Muschamp anymore, to be totally honest with you. But I'm excited. No, I'm excited. I'm excited to see what these young guys do as well, especially on defense. I'm just, like I said, I'm really intrigued. And I talked about this a little bit today in the best bet. What type of team shows up on Saturday? Because, a lot of times in these scenarios, when your coach gets fired and stuff like that, you see a team come out resilient, fired up, ready to win a game for either their interim head coach or the program. What type of attitude does this team come out with? That'll be my biggest question. Hey, okay, what's up, man?
What's up, Chris? How you doing this morning?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. Are you surprised that RJ opted out too?
I'm not really surprised if anybody opts out at this point, man. I mean, it's not really going to surprise me. So they all got their reasons, whatever they are. I certainly don't think any of us think it's to go to the draft for RJ Roderick. I mean, not trying to throw any shade, but let's just call it for what it is. But I mean, no, it honestly at this point, it's just it's on an individual player basis, and it's really not going to shock me if anybody, decides to opt out. You know what I mean? So they've all got that opportunity and that choice, and they can make it. And so I mean, I'll be honest with you, I'd be shocked if those are the last opt outs we see. I'd be kind of surprised. So.
How about Kiera Thomas? You see Kiera Thomas opting out or no?
I mean, again, you never know. I mean, I haven't seen anything that he's leaning that way or not. I mean, I haven't seen anything. So, I mean, at this point, they haven't opted out by yesterday at least. So I'm sure, when Mike Bobo talks Thursday, maybe we'll find out something else. But he sounds like everybody else is good to go. So we'll see. But again, man, it's hard to predict. You know what I mean? It's really hard to predict just because it's on each individual player. So I mean,
One other question: how do you see Connor Shaw coming in and getting in the quarterback room? Do you think that we'll do better since Connor is actually in the quarterback room now? Because I mean, he was the most winningest quarterback in South Carolina history at home.
I mean, you would think he'd rub off in a really positive way. I mean, I don't know how much impact he'll have really. But no, I mean, he's, it's awesome. I love that Connor's on staff, obviously. And I think all Gamecock fans are really excited. Back to what you said though about Kiera Thomas, I wouldn't, obviously, I mean, he wants to play. I'd love to see him play, but him opting out, hey, whatever, bring Zach Pickens in, let him start, let Birch start. Like I just at this point, I don't even care. Just play everybody, play all the young guys, like build for next year. So whatever. Again, that could spin that into a positive. But no, I mean, I love that Connor's on staff, and I think the next head coach, I mean, whether Connor wants to stay on staff or be in an admin role or whatever, but he needs to be involved with the university. That's 100%. I think we all agree on that. So.
Yeah. And do you see Connor maybe? I mean, I doubt that he would do this, but do you see Connor having a job opportunity opening for him?
As far as like what, for the head coach?
Yeah, head coach. That'd be very interesting if he did.
Yeah, see, I mean, I don't think that they would offer him the head coaching position. I mean, I don't know what other schools would or whatever. I mean, I think a lot of it's going to come down to Connor Shaw too, though. Like, does he really want to dive into the whole coaching career? Because I had Connor Shaw on my show this was like 2 years ago, and I think he had just finished up coaching at Furman or whatever, and he kind of talked about wanting to start a family and raise his kids, and it's just tough on a coach. Like the hours they work are crazy, and it's not the easiest thing in the world to be a football coach. A lot of it kind of depends on what Connor wants to do. But I mean, obviously, we'd all love to see him at Carolina in some capacity. I mean, I don't think he would be the head coach by any means. I mean, I think getting some experience under his belt would be good. But no, like I said, I mean, we all want to see him at Carolina in some capacity, which I think we will. I think we will. So.
Oh yeah, most definitely. And one other thing I saw on social media the other day, they were showing the top 10 predictions that what coach would come to South Carolina and all that bullshit. And how about they had Brett Venables at the 10th spot? And I'm thinking in my head, Brett Venables, if South Carolina offered Brett Venables twice as much as he's getting at Clemson, I doubt that he would even come.
I mean, I wouldn't want him anyways. I mean, I know everybody's a huge fan of Mark Ryan and everything, but I mean, I went on his radio show, and that's who Mark thinks would be a dream home run hire. And I just you just paid a defensive minded head coach $15 million to get out of town. Why would you bring in another defensive minded head coach? I think that's not the direction South Carolina needs to go. They need to go offensive, and that's what Ray Tanner said. But no, I have absolutely no interest in bringing another defensive-minded head coach. I'm not saying they couldn't have success at other schools or heck even here, but I just, if you hire a defensive-minded head coach and you go out there game one in 2021 and you're kicking a field goal on 4th and 2 from the 30-yard line, or you're punting at the 50, the fan base ain't going to be too thrilled. So, no, I think South Carolina needs to get creative, think outside the box, go with an offensive mind, a guy that's aggressive. I would not be a fan. And honestly, this is taking the whole Clemson aspect of it aside. I just wouldn't be a fan of the Venables hire just because he's a defensive coordinator. I think it's like it could be Muschamp 2.0. So,
yeah. And the Alabama offense coordinator, what's his name? Steve.
Sarkisian. Yeah.
Yeah, Sarkisian. And actually, this is funny. The day before, I saw it. Me and my dad were talking on the phone. He said that Steve will be a good coach, and I was like, ain't no way. And then I thought, I said, you know what? That might be a good pick, because I mean, he's an offensive mind. He has been with Alabama for a couple years. He's been with Nick Saban, and I really think if we need to get anybody, I think we need to go out there on Steve.
Yeah, I think that one's a long shot, but I mean that would be a very interesting hire, and I think you could do much worse for sure. But yeah, man, I mean it's going to be interesting to follow for sure. And if like I said, if I had to put money on it right now, I'd probably say Billy Napier, but that's just me. So I appreciate the call, man. Appreciate you tuning in as always for sure.
All right, thank you. Go Cox.
Yeah, go Cox. Appreciate it, man. Yeah. No, it's going to be a very, very interesting, next couple of weeks. I think South Carolina is going to have a head coach hired by that first week of December. Like, I think this is going to happen pretty quick. I mean, it's Wednesday, November 18th right now. Yeah, I think within the next 2 to 3 weeks, you're going to have a coach. I mean, that's just my opinion. We'll see. But I think there will be a coach hired pretty soon. So, again, if you guys do want to call in, I know I just missed a call. 843-790-3377. He actually left a voicemail. I'll play it if you guys want to hear it really quick.
Question for Chris. Will Greg Sankey, will he block Hugh Freeze from coming back? Also, Les Miles, has that name been mentioned?
All right. Appreciate the call, man. Les Miles, I think that name was hot 2 or 3 years ago. I don't think so much now. He's had no success in Kansas. Hell, they lost to Coastal this year. So, I mean, I think his name has kind of fizzled out, if you will. And then would the SEC block Hugh Freeze? I mean, that's something that South Carolina would have to look into. I think at this point, they'd probably let him back in. But, I mean, you never know. You'd have to check with Sankey. So, I mean, we'll see. Savannah Webster, what's up? You think anything of some recruits and current players following Napier? Where there's smoke, where there's smoke, you know what I mean? I don't. Again, that's what I'm saying. That I'd put my money on Napier right now to get the job. If I had to bet on it, if I had to gamble on it, I'd probably say Billy Napier is going to be the next head coach. That's just my gut feeling. And again, you see that kind of like where there's smoke, he's following Gunnar Stockton, he's following players, he's following Justin King. So, I mean, you never know. I think that's certainly a possibility. And like I said, it kind of favors that way, doesn't it? RJ Kelly, is Bob Stoops an option? I don't think he's probably a realistic option, but Bob Stoops is the guy that I'm calling and I'm making him tell me no. So Lance Player, appreciate you tuning in, man. Toby says, I want Hugh Freeze, but I know with the El Presidente is from West Point and probably isn't too big on second chances. Well, I think he won't be too big. I don't know about second chances. I don't think he'd be too big on hiring a guy with his past. And if you don't want to do it, I totally understand. I get it. I get it. Like I've said to you guys many times, I think it's the great opportunity for South Carolina to roll the dice on a guy like a Napier, like a Jamie Chadwell, like a Shane Beamer even. So, and the interesting thing about Shane Beamer to me, man, is you talk to any of the Gamecock greats that were all on those teams from 10 to 13, they love him. They love Shane Beamer. They all endorse him. They all support him. Heck, he spent time under Lincoln Riley. It wouldn't be the worst hire. It would, and I think he's a guy that understands University of South Carolina. He understands the culture. Heck, he recruited to South Carolina. I think he gets it. So, I mean, I would not be totally disappointed at all. I'd be okay with that. I'd be okay with that hire. Why not? Like I said, this is the time to roll the dice. You've got the perfect opportunity to roll the dice, take a flyer on a guy, take a risk. I think that, why not? So, Tim Moore, Pickens is not a bust, just needs better coaching. Yeah, I mean, I'm not ready to call him a bust, obviously. Like I said, I agree with you. I'd love to see what he can do under some different coaching. Absolutely. Rodney Creel heard some Scott Satterfield buzz. Yeah, see, that's the funny thing. Everybody's a name right now. Everybody's kind of a candidate right now. And there's the short list of guys that you hear, the Napiers, the Beamers, the Hugh Freezes. But, I mean, you could just throw any name out there right now, and people could run with it. You know what I mean? So, at this point, everybody's fair game kind of. So let me go back. I feel like I missed some questions here. Phil says Ray Tanner gave us hints at the press conference of who they're going after, offensive mind and someone with high character. Yeah, I think that's a good place to start for sure. Phil also says Muschamp's second chance was all football results related. Freeze's second chance involves sanctions and hookers. Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. Jackson James, when do you expect them to hire the new head coach? Like I said, definitely at latest by that December 16th signing period. I think probably before. I think they're going to want to give the new head coach a couple of weeks to reach out to current recruits or reach out to guys he's recruiting and try to bring him to South Carolina. I don't think they're going to put him behind the 8 ball, which, I mean, you are behind the 8 ball either way. This isn't going to be a true recruiting class for the head coach that's hired, but I think they're going to try to help him out as much as possible. So, Phil says hiring coach with zero head coaching experience is crazy as hell. SEC will eat him up. Listen, I hear what you're saying. Dabo had zero experience, man. I totally get it. But I think South Carolina fans are going to have to probably get comfortable with being uncomfortable with this next hire in regards to it's not going to be a Holtz. It's not going to be a Spurrier. It's not going to be a name that's been a head coach in the SEC. And I'm totally fine with that. Like I said, this is the opportunity to roll the dice, take a risk. Why not? Why not? Dabo, I mean, again, I hate to compare it to Clemson's situation because not everybody's Dabo Swinney. There's only one Dabo Swinney, right? But he was a wide receivers coach. Guy never was in any type of prominent coaching role. So I get what you're saying, but at the same time, I'd like to see us go against the grain and think outside the box for once. Like, that's the thing with me about the Hugh Freeze hire. Again, I would not be upset at all about the Hugh Freeze hire, but it's what everybody's expecting you to do. It's what everyone's expecting you to do is go hire Hugh Freeze. Like, let's just get creative one time. You know what I mean? Like, why not? Roll the dice, like I said. So, I don't know. That's just me. I would not, like I said, I wouldn't be mad at Hugh Freeze. Wouldn't be mad at it at all. Ronnie Pace, is it true that Napier turned down Ole Miss before Kiffin got the job? I'm not 100% sure on that. So, Justin says, do you think we'll get a fun and gun style? We have the weapons and offense for it. I think we'll go back to a spread. No question. I mean, that's just what football is at now. I think we'll go back to a spread. And that's why I don't understand people saying, oh, keep Bobo. No. Get rid of Bobo. I mean, I appreciate Bobo for what he's done this year. I like Bobo, all fine and dandy, but let the next head coach start anew, man. We need no holdovers from the Muschamp tenure. I mean, zero, none, negative $1 million. We need no holdovers from that tenure. The only person that should still be there is Connor Shaw. So, no holdovers from that Muschamp tenure, though. Philip Carter Harris, Caldwell and Napier are a risk because they're not SEC coaches, but at least they have head coaching experience and been successful. Yeah, I mean, okay, I get that. Totally get that. Travis Rowell, and you kind of state my point for me. I love this. Totally fine with no experience. What do we have to lose? More mediocrity? Roll the dice. Yeah, I mean, what's the worst case scenario? You're average? You've been average for 113 years. Hey, what's the risk? You know what I mean? Like, again, I'm not saying this next hire isn't massively important, but I'm just saying, like, why not? Roll the dice. Roll the dice. So, Drayton Huffman says, Clemson fans wanted to run Dabo out of town. We beat their ass 5 years in a row, but look what he has done. They gave him time, and now our rival's a powerhouse, unfortunately. Well, yeah, when Carolina was beating Clemson 5 years in a row, Clemson was winning double-digit games in a season and winning the ACC. So, you know, I mean, you're going to fire a guy that's winning the conference, you know. Todd Faulkner, if Gamecock fans want someone who wants to be there, Beamer and Napier absolutely want to be there. They both have pros and cons, but the fact they want to be there from reports has to count for something. I agree. I do agree. I think that would be my thing with Freeze too. Is this? I don't know how many of you are on the Freeze bandwagon, or if that's your number one choice. My thing that would scare me about Hugh Freeze is he a guy that's going to come to South Carolina, be there for 3 years, and jump for a better job, versus a guy like a Napier or a Beamer that are going to make South Carolina their own. It is their dream job. Like, I think that would be cool. I think that would be a cool thing. So just my opinion on the matter. Brooke Cooper, it's not just the coach, it's definitely the recruits you bring in. I mean, yeah, it's Jimmy's and Joe's, not X's and O's, but you got to have the right players and the right coach to coach them up. Steven says, keep Tracy Rocker. No holdovers from Muschamp. No, none. Zero. Absolutely none. I don't want any holdovers. Toby says, obviously not going to happen, but how would you feel about giving Urban Meyer a blank check and writing a number? I'd be down for it. I think you make him say no to you. Tim Krim, Chris, you may have already said it, but who would you like to see be the coach? You know, I'm fine with Freeze. I'm fine with Napier. I'm even fine with Beamer. I'm even fine with Chadwell, honestly. I think Fickle's a Big Ten guy and a defensive mind. I wouldn't love it. I'd be down with Sarkisian. Again, if they're an offensive-minded guy and they're willing to bust their ass recruiting, I'm pretty much game. Just the last thing I want is another defensive-minded guy. Can't do it. Can't have it. So Phil says, the risk of being worse than average and becoming Vandy sounds ridiculous for our fan base, facilities, resources, but the next head coach is a disaster and worse than we have right now. Could be losing all SEC games going forward. I hear you, man. Again, you're right. It is a risk. Maybe this is just me. I don't see a guy out there that's a downgrade. I really don't. I mean, I do not see a guy out there that could drag us further down than we already are. And again, I know it could always get worse. I mean, it certainly could. We could lose every game, like you said, be Vandy, but I don't see a single guy out there, honestly. There's not a guy we could hire that would have a worse track record than what Muschamp had when we hired him. I mean, honestly, there's not a single guy out there like that. So, at least from the short list of names that I've talked about. Now, granted, you start going off the deep end with these names, I mean, sure, you're going to find guys that have issues, but from the short list of names, I don't think there's a guy out there who has a worse track record than Muschamp had when we hired him. So, I think it's only up from here, man. But you're right, though. This next hire is extremely important. You got to get it right. You've got to get it right. Hey, you got to get it right for the sake of winning games. You got to get it right for the sake of, I think Ray Tanner knows this hire is going to ultimately truly define his legacy. So, Cody Gaskins, Napier wants to be here and build something, just like Dabo wanted to be the Clemson head coach. We need someone to love and care about the university. I think that'd be awesome. I really do. I think that would be awesome. Cody Collins, do they announce interviews for head coach, and is Joe Brady out of the conversation? No, they really don't announce. More of that just kind of comes through the grapevine, the rumor mill, if you will. And I think Joe Brady at this point is probably an NFL guy. I think he's just kind of, he's he's got his feet set in the NFL, and I think he'd be a very much long shot. So, Jonathan Moffrey, what are some of the candidates you've heard you 100% don't want? Brent Venables, that Monken dude from Army, or the Army head coach. No, thank you. Somebody mentioned Dan Quinn. God, kill me. Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to think a little more, but those are the ones off the top of my head. So, Renee Benson Sellers, do you trust Tanner to do the hire? Well, here's the thing. Tanner's not going to be the only guy doing it. So, I think this is going to be led by Bob Caslin and the search committee they've hired and the people they have around him. I don't think Ray Tanner's going to be the lead guy. Also, Jonathan Moffrey, somebody else I 100% don't want, Mike Bobo. That would be, oh my God, I'll be done with Carolina football. No chance. No chance do I want Bobo. None. Again, guys, taking your questions, comments, calls, 843-790-3377. 843-790-3377. Tim Cream, what if Bobo wins out? Would the search be over? No. Absolutely not. Nope. I think that would be a horrific idea. Terrible idea. So, Toby says, my coworker asked if you were Steven Garcia. Yeah, it's funny. I've gotten that before. When I interviewed Mike Davis, he asked me if anybody ever told me I like Steven Garcia. Just, hey, there's worse people to be compared to. So, H-Man98, Bobo would be like Muschamp number 2. Yeah, that's my thing. That'd be an awful hire. That would be the stupidest thing ever. Rodney Creel, don't know much about him, but I've also seen Rhett Lashley's name mentioned. Yeah, Barrett Sallee brought that up. I don't think he's a real candidate for it. Skyland Reed Davis, we only hired a firm because the job is getting a lot of attention. Yeah, I mean, I figured that was why. Stephen Blue, nobody worse than Muschamp, because look at our players right now. We fired a coach with a 2-5 record, and they want to pout about it, and they want to talk about culture. I think our culture sucks right now after how these players are pouting. I'll tell you this, which I will say this. It's kind of funny. I don't know if you guys think about this. We all say Muschamp's a likable guy. He's a great dude. I don't know him. Do you know him? I mean, we all assume he is, but I'm just saying, like, I know his players love him, but, like, it's just kind of funny how we just assume he's a great guy. Like, I don't know. I don't know the guy personally, but whatever. I think people are starting to see that the culture wasn't quite as perfect behind closed doors. That's all I'll say. So, that's all I'll say. Sean O'Brien, do you think Caslin having a bigger hand and opinion in the football is a good thing in their long and short term? Yeah, I think it's a good thing. I mean, I think Caslin's a football guy, and he wants to see a winning football program. So I think it's a good thing. Yeah. Lee Elsey, heard mention of James Franklin as well. Definitely a Big Ten guy. I don't see it working out South Carolina. Yeah, I think he's a Big Ten dude for sure. Skyland Reed Davis is more than likely Napier or Beamer. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking too. I think it's probably going to be Billy Napier. So, Forrest knows. Why do you think the players now act like they forgot how good we were just 6 to 8 years ago? Again, I have no idea. I don't know. The standard got lost somewhere. DJ Swearinger said it. My interview tomorrow said it. The standard got lost somewhere. I don't know what happened. But it did. It did. Flat out it did. So, again, I think it goes to show you that maybe the culture wasn't quite as good behind closed doors as we thought. So, Travis Rowell, we've done the old coach stuff. Think outside the box. Let's get this new coach to be with us for 20-plus years. That's never happened. It's time. Yeah, I mean, I think that's the way to go as well. A younger dude. Yeah. For sure. I trust me. I don't want to see as much as I loved Spurrier and Holtz, and I don't want to see another coach is on his last stop. You know what I mean? I don't want that. Rob Sims says, is Freeze out? I wouldn't say he's out. I mean, his name's certainly still floating around out there. I would just say, if I had to bet on it, if I had to put money on it, I would say Napier's going to be the next head coach. That's just my guess. So, Paul Yarborough, prediction for Mizzou. Yeah, I will give my prediction Friday for the game. I'm leaning Mizzou. I'll give you that. I'm leaning Mizzou. That's I have not come to a solid prediction yet, but I am leaning Mizzou. Savannah Webster says, how old is Napier? Also, where's Beamer right now? I'm pretty sure Napier's 41, yeah. And Beamer's at Oklahoma. So, yeah. John Gibbs says the people who want to be here are welcomed and who we want. Those who don't want to be here, please go. Nothing personal. It's just a change we need. I agree 100%. Yep, that's the best way to put it. We wish no ill will. Do your thing. Take care of your business. Handle it, whatever. And we got to take care of us too, and we're going to do it. So it's the change. It's the change that needs to happen. It's ripping the Band-Aid off, and it is what it is. So I said that before. I'll say it again. Whether a guy wants to transfer, opt out, do whatever. No hard feelings. Appreciate what you did for the University of South Carolina, but hey, we'll roll with the 22 that want to be out there. All we got's all we need. Let's go. Let's go. Let's get to work. Let's get to work for the future. So, Tack Covington, South Carolina, 6th in total offense in the SEC. Why not keep Bobo as OC? I hear you what you're saying, but Bobo's offenses have revolved around having a statue at quarterback and leaning on a running game. I think you need to bring the spread back to Columbia. I think you need to have a dual threat mobile quarterback like a Luke Doty. Like I think that needs to be your plan of attack. And again, guys, like I said, when you're changing the culture, because that's what the next coach is going to be doing. He's going to be changing the culture. The last thing you want is holdovers from the previous staff, because are they still saying things that the old coach was saying? And I don't like it. I don't like holdovers from the old staff. Like just start anew, start completely fresh, and we go from there. I'll be, it's wild. I will be very interested to see what changes are made to the facilities in regards to, like, instead of effort, toughness, discipline, what will the new slogans be, and will he change up stuff in the ops building, and will he change up stuff inside Williams-Brice? Like, I think it'll be very, very interesting. So I don't know. That's kind of a small thing, but Tony says they need to play Connor Shaw's press speech all over every building the players are in and send it to every recruit. I agree, dude. Connor's the legend. So Renee says, do you think Shaw is a keeper with the new coach? Hey, he better be. I wouldn't hire the new guy if he wasn't going to keep him. Savannah Webster, of course, pressers are different because of the public eye. I didn't get the vibe that Bobo would be bad for us. Just need to get a mobile quarterback. I mean, listen, I hear you. Get what you're saying. I liked his presser yesterday. He was very honest, blunt, to the point. I don't want to see that long term. I'm not. I'll pass on that. Bruce Atkins, firing a coach could bring a team together, but not sure what is going on with guys opting out, et cetera. Play the young guys there in the future. So that, to me, is the biggest storyline, or kind of piggybacks off the biggest storyline of Muschamp not being there anymore. Is just, again, and I said this morning when I talked about the best bet, but, a lot of times when you see a head coach fired, you see a team rally together and they play much better that following week, and they play for each other, they play for the university, or they play for the interim head coach or whatever, and they come out inspired. And a lot of times you see them win a game. I don't know how this team's going to react. I don't know if this team is going to have that approach to it, or the approach of we're mailing it in, our head coach got fired, because I don't know. I just don't know. I don't know what the reaction from this team is going to be like. Again, to me, I think that's a major storyline. What type of energy, what type of intensity, what type of want to do these guys come out with? Stephen Blue, we need to hire somebody that wants to be here. None of the bigger schools like Bama, LSU, and so on can come in and take him. Yeah. Savannah Webster, could it come down to seeing if Hill stays, whether or not we keep Bobo? If Hill stays, no Bobo, and vice versa. So if you think if Hill leaves, we'd keep Bobo? Again, I don't think you should keep Bobo no matter what, and I don't think Colin Hill will stay, because I don't think Bobo is going to be here. So Toby says, I heard Stockton is real close with Shaw, so I don't think he's going to flip. Yeah, I think we'll be fine with Gunner. I think we'll be fine with Gunner. With Connor Shaw staying in his ear, I'm sure the new head coach obviously is going to go out of his way to develop a relationship. I think we still have a very good shot. I do. Chad says, where do you think Muschamp lands? Heard he might go to Tennessee as a defensive coordinator, bro. I would love that. I would love that. I would love for Muschamp to go be a DC at Tennessee or Auburn or what, and us just shove it up his ass. I really would. I mean, just shove it up his ass, dude. I'd love that. That'd be a blast. Be an absolute blast. Oh, Cody Collins, when will Muschamp speak to the public? Interested to see what he says. I mean, he doesn't have to. I don't think he will. I don't think he will. I mean, I don't know why he would. Normally, College Football News has their predictions for all the SEC games out already. They don't have ours. For whatever reason, I don't think I see ours. I don't know. Very weird. Jesus Christ. Will Muschamp to Tennessee. Bro, whoever hires him is an idiot. They're an idiot, straight up. They're just a freaking idiot. So glad he ain't our problem no more. That's almost said. Renee says, do you think there's a place for Lattimore to return? I think absolutely. Does he want to return, though? I'm not 100% sure on that. Let's see. Bobby says, do you think Dak Joyner will get another shot at quarterback depending on the head coach? Freeze's quarterback, Malik Willis, reminds me a lot of Dak. I mean, it's a possibility. I would love to be a fly on the wall when the next head coach comes in and looks at our roster, because I have a feeling they're going to be like, yo, what the hell were they thinking putting these guys in these positions? Brian Welch, I've watched about 4 or 5 Louisiana's games this year. If Napier gets here with his offense, Helinski could be in trouble with how good of a dual-threat quarterback Doty is. Yeah. I hate it for Ryan, but that's, I think, what you need to do. You need a dual-threat guy. You just do. You just freaking do. Tyler Noel, I feel Connor will help Luke develop so much with his knowledge of the game and them being essentially the same type of player. How you win big here is with a quarterback who's mobile. I agree with you 100%. Yep, I agree 110% with you. You need a mobile quarterback. So, Savannah Webster, hope it's not canceled. Heard Mizzou had COVID issues. I mean, they're dealing with it. It sounds like we're still good to go for now, though. I think College Football News just hasn't put up an article yet. Rodney Creel, great opportunities here for a hungry up-and-comer looking to prove themselves. Tough schedule every season and playing Clemson to boot. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Again, great opportunity. I think it's a perfect time to roll the dice on a guy, see if a young guy can come in, maybe a little bit unproven, chip on his shoulder, wants to be at South Carolina, and, can do something big here. I think it's possible. Renee says, I believe Shaw will be instrumental in recruiting. I agree with you. When you have a guy like that speaking for your school, what an ambassador that is, you know? Savannah Webster, who do we want as defensive coordinator? I don't have a short list of guys. It's probably going to come down to whoever the next head coach wants to hire, whoever he wants to bring in. But I don't necessarily have a short list. So, D White 864. How many years would you give the new guy if he's having a bad first couple years? I'll give him 4 to 5. I mean, and that's the funny thing I saw on social media is people were complaining and bitching, saying, "Well, if the next head coach comes in and you do this cycle all over again, he's winning, he's doing the same thing Muschamp is, you're going to fire him." Like, yeah, no kidding. That's how the job works. I mean, I don't want to be the program that recycles coaches every 5 years, but man, most coaches don't get that long. So we're not saying, hey, by year 5, you better be winning the SEC, but you got to be showing progress to some degree. I mean, Muschamp wasn't even showing progress. Nothing. No semblance of progress. So, that's all Carolina fans want to see is progression. Chase Marcus late to the chat. Sorry if this has already been asked. Out of anybody, who would you choose for the head coach? I mean, here's the thing. I can tell you this. I am, like I've said before, I think this is the perfect opportunity to roll the dice on a guy. I like Napier. I like Beamer. I like Freeze. Like Sarkisian. So, I mean, it's hard for me to pick one because I'm not behind closed doors interviewing these guys. I think that's a big part of this. I think that's a big part of this process, finding out, what these guys plan to bring to Columbia. Like, what do they want to be known for? What type of scheme they're going to run? Like, you need to dig deeper, you know what I mean, than just on the surface. So, yeah, I'd be fine with all those guys. Chadwell would probably be at the bottom of my list, but, I mean, he'd be on the list. So, Savannah Webster, I don't want Clemson's leftovers, but do you think there is a tactical advantage of taking a key piece of their success as head coach, DC or OC? I mean, maybe. I know we all don't want the Clemson connection, whatever. But see, with Napier, I don't care. I mean, he hadn't been there like 10 years and whatever. I mean, I'm not gonna limit myself from getting a potentially really good head coaching candidate because he once coached at Clemson. Like, who cares? Whatever. It is what it is. Brian Welch, average 7-8 wins by year 5 and get us to bowl games with a couple of bowl. Yeah, I mean, dude, it's not that. I don't think Carolina fans are that demanding. You know what I mean? Like, I think Carolina fans are very realistic. So, Renee, want to look forward to game day, not dreading it. I agree. This Saturday is the first game day in a while that I feel that way, to be totally honest with you. There's actually going to be some buzz around game day this week. That's the fun thing for me. There's actually going to be buzz around game day. Again, guys, taking your questions, comments, calls. You do want to call in 843-790-3377. Also, quick reminder, if you've not checked out the podcast that dropped this morning, episode 320. Breaking down my top 5 candidates for the head coaching position that are former Gamecocks alumni that I'd like to see. Pretty fun show. Also, of course, we talk gambling best bet, SEC gambling picks, all that good stuff here, here on a Wednesday. So, also, quick reminder, if you're in the city and need a spot to watch the game, Saturday, Overtime Bar and Grill is the spot to be. Exact same schedule as last week. Pre-game show 6:30 to 7. Kickoff at 7:30. Doors open at 11 there. Going to have a really, really good time. So if you're in the city, you want to come out, you're more than welcome to. Should be a blast. Let's see. What are your thoughts on Connor Shaw being the coach? Not right now. He needs to get some experience. He realistically needs to get some coaching experience. H-Man 998, Napier is a better coach than Chadwell at this stage. I do agree with you. So, Brian Welch, our program is actually relevant again because everyone wants to know who's coming here and what the new coach has to work with. There's going to be more eyes on us than normal for the rest of the season. Yeah, that's a cool feeling. It is fun, man. It's fun. It's fun for your program to be in the spotlight for a positive reason. So, John Gibbs says 15-0 is the standard. It's okay to be realistic, but constantly staying at 7-8 wins is never going to advance our program. You got to start somewhere in South Carolina to do it. And yeah, listen, I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. Listen, the standard needs to be to get to Atlanta. That should be the ultimate goal. And if you didn't get to Atlanta that season, you didn't accomplish your goal. But what I'm saying is when you're building along the way, Yeah, you got to raise the floor. That was Muschamp's, I think, biggest problem. The floor was so low. So making the floor 7 to 8 wins, and then every 2 to 3 years you're competing to go to Atlanta and win an SEC title. I think that's realistic for South Carolina. I really do. So, but I agree with you. The standard needs to be set. The standard that the guys set back from 2010 to 2013 is that the goal every year is to get to Atlanta. Bottom line, that's the goal, to win the SEC East and have a chance at the SEC championship. Even if you don't meet that goal every year, that has to be the goal. So, Forrest knows, what are the chances the next guy we hire is the next best thing since sliced bread? You never know. You never know. It'll be interesting to see how it pans out. So, Couscous 52. Our program's culture obviously isn't great. Is Napier someone who can change that? I mean, you'll never know till you try. I mean, again, that's why I said the vetting process, the interview process is so important. That's something you kind of find out behind closed doors, or you try to find out. Savannah Webster, when is National Signing Day? I assume they want to hire before then. Yes, so it's December the 16th. I expect at this point, guys, I would expect South Carolina to have a new hire by, when's that last game? December the 7th? I'd say by then. I'd say by the 7th. I really would. So. D White 864. If we get an offensive guy, is it possible Shaw could get the OC job? No, I think you probably get a more proven guy in there. I mean, I love Connor Shaw, obviously, but guys, you got to be realistic a little bit in the sense that like he's not really ever coached before. So, yeah. Jaden Harris, where do you think McQuamu and Horn go in the draft? I think Horn late first, early second rounder. I think McQuamu is probably a third or fourth rounder, somewhere in there. So. Cody Collins, I think 6 wins for the first season for the new head coach would be an accomplishment, a step in the right direction. Yeah, and you got to see what pieces transfer out, what pieces come in, whatever, all that stuff, all the aftermath of hiring a new head coach. But, oh, yeah, I mean, I think the resources are here to make a bowl game. I mean, at a minimum, there's no question. Yeah, I mean, that's not making a bowl game should never be okay for South Carolina. I don't care what's going on. So, Travis Royal, here's a question. If we brought in Urban, he would put us back on the map, maybe make it to Atlanta. Would you guys want this if he brought us a title and left? He wouldn't be a permanent fix. That's why we need young and innovative. I'll take a ring. I mean, dude, I totally get you. I hear what you're saying, but give me a ring. I just want a ring. I really just want a ring. Hey, if you win a title, you'll have no problem getting the next guy. You'll have no problem getting the next coach. Give me a title. So. Aaron Bishop, hope all is well as you. I can't even talk. Bishop, hope all is well with you as well, sir. Even though he's not even in the conversation, what do you think about a Mike Houston? He did really well everywhere except ECU, but he still has time there as well. Younger guy, cheaper pay, which we have to take because Tanner's extension. I say give a younger up-and-comer a shot who is offensive-driven. Possibly, I think there are better young up-and-comer names, but I like where your head's at as far as a young up-and-comer, yes. Savannah Webster, Louisiana plays at 2 Saturday. Who's watching for the first time this year? Yeah, I will 100% have my eyes glued to the TV for that one. So, and Savannah Webster, yeah, I'm about to say, I don't know if you missed my answer, but December 16th is signing day. December 16th. So, Courtney Washington, I like that idea of Mike Houston. I mean, maybe, again, think outside the box. You got the opportunity here to think outside the box. I'm not totally saying it's a terrible hire. Think outside the box. Why not? All right, guys, again, taking your questions, comments, calls. Got about 10 minutes left here on a Wednesday, guys. About 10 minutes left here. Cody Collins, what did you think of the Masters? I thought it was a great tournament. I thought they did a fantastic job hosting the tournament first off, and I was happy to see DJ win. I mean, South Carolina guy that's, really good player. You kind of saw that coming, right? You knew at some point DJ was going to get one. Let's see. Sean O'Brien, everybody asking me who my pick is as head coach. Again, just give me an offensive-minded guy who's want to bust his ass recruiting. I wouldn't be mad at Freeze. I wouldn't be mad at Napier, at Beamer. Even Chadwell, I could live with. Bob Stoops over Meyer. So, John Gibbs says somebody with a spread offense that's aggressive. Same with defense. I'm ready for aggressiveness on both sides of the ball. Make USC football fun to watch. 110% agree. Just make game day fun again. That's all we ask. That's all we ask. H-Man 998, I don't really understand the anti-Clemson coach stuff. I mean, if the guy's a good coach, I don't care where he came from. I hate Clemson, trust me, but come on. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't really bother me as much as you might think it would. Terry Jones, are you the villain in Columbia? Depends on who you're asking. Let's see. Travis Rowe, would you like Urban to be here? I think that'd be an awesome hire. I think it'd be so awesome. So, Sedarius Day, we are all talking about a new head coaches, but do you have a defensive coordinator in mind you'd like to have to replace T-Rob? Again, I think the new head coach will bring in his D coordinator. I don't really have one in mind, but it's just tough to say. It's tough to say who the new head coach is going to want to bring in. So, Daniel Folk came to my mind this morning, but what do you think about Tim Beck? He's been great for the offenses at Ohio State, Texas, and NC State this year. Interesting name. Yeah, interesting name for sure. One that's not being talked about a lot. Like I said, man, everybody is fair game at this point. You know what I mean? Everybody's fair game. So, Kyle JF _10. Are you buying into the Napier Twitter following? It's interesting. And again, where there's smoke, you never know. And again, I would just say, if I had to bet my money on it right now, I'd probably say Napier is going to be the head coach. That's just my guess. I mean, could be wrong, but it just seems like all signs point to Billy Napier for whatever reason. Forrest knows odds we hire someone that we will never have thought about or talked about during the process. I think they're pretty low. I think you're going to see South Carolina go with one of the names that has been mentioned. So, Eddie Polston, what do you think of Sonny Dykes or David Cutcliffe? Again, these are all good names. These are all good names. All the names are coming out right now. Again, like I said, give me a guy who's offensive-minded, aggressive, forward-thinking, thinks outside the box, a relentless recruiter. Obviously, you'd prefer the guy to have a solid morals and character and all that good stuff. And but again, like I said, I just for whatever reason, guys, I think this is the perfect opportunity to roll the dice on maybe a young guy or an unproven guy, unknown guy, whatever. So I think it's the perfect opportunity to do that. RJ Kelly, what are some positives on Napier? I really don't know much about him. Record, previous coaching experience, et cetera. Yeah, so I mean, he's been really good at Louisiana. Been really, really good there. He also coached at Clemson. He coached at Alabama under Saban for a little bit. Is a relentless recruiter. Hates Dabo Swinney. That's a huge plus. Offensive-minded guy. Very much an offensive-minded guy. And I've heard that the South Carolina job is his dream job, or one of his dream jobs, or whatever. That he would love to take the job. So I think that goes a long way in it. So for sure. And he's a great recruiter. And he's done more with less at Louisiana. He's getting the most out of his talent there, which I think is a huge characteristic that the next head coach needs to have at South Carolina. 100%. All right, let's see, guys. Got about 5 minutes left. Your questions, calls, comments, everything else. Phil Carter Harris. Chadwell has done all the things that Napier has done, but he never got a paycheck from Clem Sucks. Phil is going to be sick to his stomach for the rest of his days if Billy Napier gets this job. Love you, Phil. Let's see. John Gibbs, fact he wants to be here is 100% a plus for us. That's what we want. I agree. I think that would be really cool to hire a guy that this was somewhat his dream job and just truly wanted to be here, truly embrace South Carolina. Graham Holden, if we hire a coach before December 16th, that's before the bowl game. Yeah, I think that's when it'll happen. I don't think you're going to see South Carolina wait longer than that for sure. Brian Welch, I can imagine with the falling out Napier had with Dabo, rivalry week, leading would be fun as hell with the verbal jabs and trash talk. Yeah, I think it'd be a cool, fun storyline. So I do. I think it would. I think it would be. Jaden Harris, I like that we got a lot more receivers involved during the Ole Miss game. Yeah, we got some other guys involved, especially late. Not a ton, but some. Oh, excuse me, guys. Oh, God. Tat comes in. Key is hiring a guy not coming off of a failing previous job. Yeah. No, I 110%. And I don't think any of the candidates South Carolina is looking at would be in that situation. So that's the good news. It almost makes you – it just makes me sit back and think how baffling that hire. I mean, really, 6 years or whatever. Yeah, I'm 4 years later, 5 years later, whatever, it makes me sit back and think, God, that was such a stupid hire. Like, I can't believe you hired Muschamp after all the bullshit he had put out. I mean, just unbelievable. Todd Faulkner, if it's Napier, how do they hire him before his season is over? His championship game is December the 19th. There's a way to do it. There's a way to do it. They can do it. He can agree to go to a new job and still coach Louisiana. So, Thomas Walker, do you think we are trending towards all college head coaches being offensive-minded? Doesn't seem like defensive minds are able to keep up with the way the game is being played now. Yeah, I mean, dude, the game is just so offensive. The rules are made for the offenses. Everybody's scoring 40 or 50 points a game. You got to be able to play offense. You know what I mean? You're not winning games 20-17 and 23-20. You're not doing that anymore. And that's what Will Muschamp wanted to do. He's a defensive-minded guy. He's conservative. So, to each their own, but that's just not how you win big in college football these days. So, Forrest knows, besides the obvious, what's the underlying missing thing that's going to get us back to the top. You got to have the right guy in place with the right culture in place. And, of course, you got to have the players. But I think it's genuinely as simple as, like, you've got to have the right head man, dude. You've got to. You got to have the right guy at the wheel. So, I think it's really that simple. Taking a couple more questions and going to wrap it up, guys. Bill Crenshaw, we're so caught up in the head coach, but who do you think he gets for a defensive coordinator? Again, that's going to be up to the new head coach. I have no idea. Who he'll bring in. So, guys, got about 30 seconds. Again, thank you so much for tuning in. If you haven't done so, check out the podcast, episode 320. Hold on. We'll take one more call. Yo, what's up, man? How are you?
Pretty good. Just Spurs up show.
Yes, sir. How's it going?
Hey man, been a Gamecock fan all my life, but I'm glad they finally
did what they had to do. And I mean, I like Muschamp, but it just wasn't head coach material.
Yeah, I mean,
my question for I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good.
My question for you is, what chances do you think Venables would be interested in the job? But the coach I like that's out there, I like Jamie Chadwell. And
Yeah.
I'll listen to you comment on Facebook. Thank you. I'm Brian.
Yeah, appreciate it, man. Thanks so much. And that's the question. Would Venables even be interested? I highly doubt it. I mean, I feel like if he was going to take a head coaching job, the guy probably would have bolted at this point. I mean, maybe he would, but I doubt it. And then, listen, I'd be game with Chadwell. I'd be game. He's done great things at Coastal, turned around Charleston Southern's program. Again, a guy that offensive-minded. You could roll the dice on a guy like that. Would be an outside-the-box hire, has done more with less. I mean, he checks the boxes for me. So, listen, I'm not totally opposed to it. I think Jamie Chadwell, that would be an interesting move for sure, but I'm not opposed to rolling the dice. So, again, guys, appreciate you all tuning in. If you haven't done so, check out the podcast, episode 320 that dropped this morning, breaking down my top 5 candidates that are former Gamecocks alumni that hypothetically I'd like to see be the head coach at South Carolina. And then, of course, we talked gambling, best bet, SEC gambling picks, all that good stuff. So again, guys, appreciate you tuning in. Pod, obviously, tomorrow and Friday. Daily Crow tomorrow and Friday, noon to 1. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Thanks so much, guys.